watching the recording. The most favorite immigration expert of yours, Jan, is here, and I will be answering your questions again, which is also your favorite type of my content. So two favorites at the same time. Anyway, for the next whatever, half an hour, something like that, 20 minutes, half an hour, we'll see. I will be answering your questions, anything related to moving to the Czech Republic, living here, starting a business here, getting a health insurance, finding a place to live, extending your visa, residence permits, everything, anything, permanent residency, citizenship, anything you might want to know, I'll be happy to answer if I know. Yep, so for those of you who are already here, the beautiful 3 people watching the live stream, thank you, and ask your questions if you have any. If you don't have any, you can just watch me like do stupid stuff here until more people join, and I'll start answering the questions. Let's see if it's the same people every time, if it will be the same. Maybe I will show you like the view from our window as well. There is the castle. It's right here is the castle. If the live stream is like long enough, you might see the castle like lit and in dark. It's beautiful, but you will need to stay with me long. But to stay with me long, you will need to have enough questions. Otherwise, this will be a super boring live stream. Yeah, so 5 people, 0 questions. That's a weird ratio. I would wonder if 6 questions joined, if they would have also like 0 people, or if they would have some people. So guys, start asking questions or I'll get weird. Tanviraval, okay, the first brave one. Hi, hope you're well. Can I change it back to study visa from employment? Potentially yes, not to study visa for sure. You can switch to a student residence permit. That's possible. Like just why? You know, because if you have the employee card, you can also study. So as long as you manage to do both, you can do both. So I don't see much of a reason for that, especially because the employee card is way stronger type of residence permit for 2 years instead of 1 year. It counts as full year instead of half a year towards the permanent residency. So I don't really see a reason why you should be switching back from an employee card to a student residence permit, but technically you can do it. Wasim Yahuni, that's a standard visitor and standard watcher. Is watcher? Viewer. Joining and asking questions. Thank you. Is it normal to say that I wanted to apply for opportunities in Czech Republic after graduation from university in the interview of the embassy, because it's real to say that I wanted to go? Sorry guys, I have a reminder for myself that I should turn off the phone now. So I'll not do it for another 25 minutes, but I should do that soon. Anyway, so back to the question. Well, there are a couple perspectives. One is that you should be real. So if it's the real thing, yeah, might be good to say it. Also depends on how it is related to the rest of the interview, because people ask me about that. If like, should I say that I plan on staying in the Czech Republic after the graduation, or should I say that I will be going back to my country after the graduation? There is no like one answer that would fit all. It's kind of like how your story goes. Because if you say, I love my country, I very much want to improve my country, and I want to get a diploma somewhere abroad in the Czech Republic to have like better education than in my country, and then they ask you, okay, so what will you be doing after graduation? And you say, yeah, I will stay in the Czech Republic, look for a job. Kind of doesn't match with what you said before, that you want to improve your country and that's why you're studying, or why you're coming for the program. So the whole story must make sense and be as realistic as possible, of course. Saida Aisha Hussain, can you apply for Schengen during the process in time for long-term residence permit? You can. Question is if it makes sense, but you can. Juan Alvarez. Hola Juan, ¿cómo estás? Hello Jan. That was assumption that you speak Spanish. Anyway, I got accepted to master's degree in Masaryk University. Could you please tell me the proof of funds amount? Any advice for me? I'm from Colombia. My advice is go for the next year's intake, like 2026, instead of this one, because if you haven't started the process, the visa process yet, there is no way you will get it before September, but you can do it. You can get it later. Anyway, the amount of money is, we usually say 120,000 crowns. It's a bit less because there is a calculation for that. But if you round it to 120,000 crowns, that should be okay. Sataji Troy, does it possible to get permanent residency by showing that I have Czech girlfriend and we are going to marry during study at BUT? Do you study at BUT? That must be interesting studies. I would like to study that. Yeah, just kidding, man. Permanent residency generally has some rules, and definitely one of the rules is not that you just date a Czech girlfriend, you know? So you still need to meet the other requirements. So potentially that might be one of the ways, but you generally need to be here for 5 years to be able to apply for a permanent residence permit. Depends also on what kind of visas you had before or residence permits. You need to be making enough money. So it's not like just you start dating a Czech girl and you can immediately get the PR. Not like that. You still need to meet all the other requirements, but it might be a possible way. Hola, ay bro, hola bro. ¿Cómo estás, bro? Juan Alvarez. Okay, I don't know what's with my Spanish today. Sorry, guys. Also, I would need to renew my visa. Okay, also, what was the also before? Proof of funds amount. Okay. Also, I would need to renew my visa in the Czech Republic as the master's degree is for 2 years and visa studies for 1 year with the same proof of funds. I'm a little confused about that. Well, yeah, the student visa or student residence permit is generally only given for 1 year, even if your studies take 6 years or 72 years or 3 years. Doesn't matter. So you generally get the first one for a year and then you renew it in the Czech Republic, and then you need to submit exactly the same set of documents. So you need 120,000 now, and you will need 120,000 1 year from now to extend. If to apply for a visa or for a residence permit, that's a question, because you can potentially also immediately now apply for a student residence permit, which is a bit more complicated to get denied by the Ministry of the Interior, plus might have some other advantages. On the other hand, it's a bit different process, a bit more complicated process than for the visa, so it depends. But yeah, generally when you reach the 1 year, you need to renew in the Czech Republic, and you need exactly the same set of documents as for the first application. Wasim Yahuni, I also watch your podcast. I really like it. Good luck, sir. Thank you very much. Guys, if you don't know, we have launched a podcast on our official YouTube channel for Move to Prague. So if you go to Move to Prague Relocation Experts, you will find a podcast where me and the other owner, Daria, talk about different topics. And one of the next ones will be super spicy, because we will be talking about racism in the Czech Republic and about sexuality in the Czech Republic, because those are two pretty big topics here. And the episode will be borderline, it's called Borderline Czech, but it will be also borderline cancelled, because the topics we discussed there, I don't think you've ever heard about those before. Someone openly talking about racism in the Czech Republic, how it is in real life, and about how Czechs are towards sex, because as you probably know, most of the porn stars are from the Czech Republic. A lot of porn is shot here. Also, we have plenty of brothels in the city center of Prague, and it's one of the famous things to come here for. Cheap beer and cheap girls. So we discuss all these topics, and it's very, very spicy. So if you don't know the podcast, Borderline Czech on our Move to Prague YouTube, or also on Spotify, borderline Czech. Awesome, thank you for mentioning that, and thank you for watching it. Ola, can you please help me to navigate from Hungary to Chomutov in Czech Republic, please? Like first, like if you're in Hungary, you go straight for like 300 kilometers, then you turn right, and behind Prague there is a small village called Beroun, and then you turn left and you're in Chomutov. No man, Google Maps. I think that's the best, because then that could also show you. I believe that Google Maps you have an option of like choosing train, and then it might potentially take you to the website of the Czech Railway, and that will show you. I cannot really tell you what's the best way to get here. Potentially flight, and then take a bus or a train from Prague to Chomutov, but I think Google Maps will be the best guide in this regards. Tanviraval, thank you. So basically I have a long-term employee card which expires in next year, June 26th. Then I have to get new one. I have a Czech degree already. I will not have job from 31st of August. Well, if you had a standard employee card, you have 60 days to find a new job after one job ends. If you have the non-dual employee card, for example, because you already have a Czech diploma, so you have free access to the labor market, you have even more time to find a job. So as long as you have something to offer and you think you will be able to find a job, I would keep the employee card and not maybe the student residence permit, keep it as the very last option if you cannot find like a job in 3 months or something. But generally I would keep the employee card if you can, at least a bit. So I'm not sure how many months I have to find new job. Do I have 9 months or end of expire of my card I have? Okay, so I've just answered that. Generally for normal employee card, 60 days. For a non-dual employee card, when you have free access to the Czech labor market, there is no hard line, but generally longer than 60 days. But you still need to fulfill the purpose of your stay. So you should not be unemployed for like a year if your employee card is for 2 years. But other than that, if you stick to 60 days, you should be completely fine. Ankush Oberoi, hi. Hi Ankush, thank you for joining. Tanvi, I came to study in 2020, finished my studies 2022. After that, I'm on employee card. Yeah, if you can stay under the employee card, definitely do that, because that's, especially with the free access to the labor market, changing employers is super simple. So I don't really see a reason to go back to studies, unless of course you know that you will never find a job again. So then yes, makes sense. But if you reasonably can find a job, keep the employee card. My professional opinion. Saida Ayesha Hussain, long-term residence permit processing time is 9 months. So do we have to wait the entire months in our own country? Well, that's only for the family reunification residence permit. Usually the decision is made way sooner anyway, usually like 2 months, 3 months, but depends on how well you prepare the application, depends on the situation of the main applicant, of the holder of the employee card, or whoever you're joining. So yeah, generally you need to wait in your home country, but if you get a short-term visa, of course you can come visit, but usually it doesn't take 9 months to get family reunification. Mati Aimer, Ajmer, Ahmer, whatever is the pronunciation, sorry man, or girl, I don't know. Long-term work permit came before 8 months, but Czech Indian embassy appointment to confirm, is it delayed? Well guys, okay, so that's another story. I can get very passionate about this. Mati, you've been scammed. Okay, there are no available appointments for an employee card at the Czech embassy in India. So you can wait for another 20 years and potentially never get an appointment. So you've been scammed, You've been scammed, man. So sorry to tell you that, but you will never get an appointment unless your employer is a part of the governmental program. But in that case, they would get the appointment for you. You would not need to do it yourself. So sorry, you've been scammed. First, last, welcome to Indonesian. Hello. Hello to Indonesia. Lungan Lung Melangme. I'm looking for a warehouse job. How will get the work visa, sir? Depends on where are you from. As I just mentioned, to Mati, in some cases, in some countries, you cannot get an appointment at all. So it makes no sense to look for a job because you will never move here for the job. But it depends on your country. I've done a video. If you go to my channel, still don't know where, somewhere click and like you get to my channel, and if you look for jobs in the Czech Republic or how to find a job in the Czech Republic, best places to look for a job, blah blah, something like that, then I have done a video about that. But honestly, don't pay anyone money for a work permit or employment contract or whatever before you verify that you can actually get an appointment, which in some countries is not really possible. So you can easily get scammed. Hola, hi, can you please help me on how to navigate? I answer that and answer that. Juan Alvarez, do you consider master's degree difficult as a non-native English speaker? I'm thinking of saving money for my first semester and then look for a job. Yes, the idea is next year. Gracias, Jan. Gracias, de nada. De nada. But let me see. Save money for my first semester and then look for a job. Well, based on what I can say here in the chat, your English is pretty good, so you should not have a problem studying in English. But of course, depends on the program. But finding a job might be the more complicated part. So yeah, it depends. But definitely, if your plan was like to come here just like for one semester to be able to find a job, I would probably advise against that, because the ministry could find out and like could deny your student visa application, saying, okay, that's a fraud because you don't really want to study, you want to like come here for work, so find a work and then apply for an employee card. If it's like you want to come here, you have money for the first semester and then you need to find a job to be able to support yourself for the school, that's fine. Because if you study an accredited program, be careful with that, accredited program, then you can work during your studies even full time, as long as you manage the school and employment at the same time. Tanvi, and do I get unemployment benefits? Let me see, what was the question? I don't think you will get any benefits, but no, maybe yes, because there is some rule. It's more of a question for an accountant than for me or HR maybe. I believe you can get benefits if you, in the last 2 years, if you worked for at least 12 months, in the last 2 years, at least 12 months. Yeah, potentially. I'm not sure if it applies to foreigners as well. You can definitely go to the labor office and at least have maybe the health insurance covered. Or actually, you don't need to do that. You have the insurance covered anyway. But the labor office could potentially help you find a job as well. But I'm not sure about benefits. Amrut Happy. Hi, I'm on a work relocation from India to Ostrava in the same company. After how many days can I bring my parents to Czech as a tourist visa or dependent? After never. Unfortunately, Czech Republic does not really see parents as your like close family members, so you cannot bring your parents under family reunification if you wanted them to move here. It's technically possible with only one parent if you only have one parent. So if your mother died or your father died or they divorced or stuff like that, and you only have like one solitary parent, then you can potentially bring them, but that's kind of complicated anyway. But if you have like both parents still together, still alive, then basically no chance. For visiting, that's fine as long as you can invite them. You can do something called an invitation letter for them, which like when they visit, you must have a valid visa. So as long as you have a valid visa, you can invite them anytime, as long as you have somewhere to live and as long as you have enough money in your bank account so you can take care of them. Hajra Kwasim, hi Hajra, thank you for joining. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And Tanvi, thank you very much. Let me know if I can book the appointment with you to visit. It's much better to visit in person and get necessary answers and how much we pay for first appointment with you. How come I will have insurance covered until 31st August for sure? Because I have job, but after that, I'm not sure if you have the non-dual card. I believe yes, because you have the Czech diploma. So in that case, you might not be covered actually. But for a normal employee card, there is a new law. I'm not sure if from beginning of this year or something, that even if you get unemployed, then you are staying under the same insurance as you had. The only difference is you need to pay for it yourself, but you can do that. Before that, it wasn't like that, but I don't think it applies to a non-dual employee card because that's kind of a very specific type of the employee card. But potentially, you could go to your insurance company and ask. As for meeting with me, the best would be just if you go to my bio somewhere, to my profile and to my bio, and there is a link to a form which you can fill in and set up a meeting. Generally we do 15 minutes for free, so where we can like discuss briefly your situation. If you need a bit more detailed information, then we charge a fee for a standard consultation. So it depends, but it also depends on what you want to discuss, because for example, the unemployment benefits, that's not something I can advise on. So it makes no sense to pay for a consultation if I cannot advise. But for other matters, of course, where what I know and what I can answer, I'll be happy to consult about. Okay, no more questions. Okay. 50 minutes or 15 minutes? Guess. Which one do you think is the correct one? Marina Ferreira. Hola, Marina. ¿Cómo estás? Hi, Jan. I am a non-EU but a permanent resident of another EU state. I have the mentioned EU in my French permit. How easy is the process to get a Czech permit? Easier than normally. It's not like you come here and you automatically get a residence permit, no, but it's easier. You basically, the easier part is that you apply in the Czech Republic. You don't have to go through any embassy as you would need to do normally. But the problematic part there is that you still need to have a reason to be in the Czech Republic. And the reason is not like I want to live here. You either need to have employment or study here or start a business here or something. You need to have a reason, because then based on the reason, you submit your application. So it's easier, but definitely not like just a simple thing that's like very, very simple thing. It's definitely easier than if you were applying completely as a new person, but not like super easy. Getting a lot of refusals from employers, that make sense. That makes sense. I would try like the biggest companies you can think of, like Microsoft and Accenture and ExxonMobil, places like that, that are more likely to know a bit more about immigration and like employment matters and all that, because they usually have some big international companies like Deloitte and similar, the big four, advising them, so they might be able to hire you. If you try some smaller companies, they might not even be aware of any immigration rules, so they will reject you just based on that. Tanvi, 50 makes sense for me at least. Yeah, that would, but it was 15. That's for free. And then if you need like a 1 hour consultation, 45 to 60 minutes, then that's usually a paid one. We need SP. Hi Jan, I have applied for a family reunification visa. My wife had the embassy interview in December 24, but still the status showing as in process, usually gets this late. Now, if it was a visa, then no, usually that's decided pretty swiftly. Then it depends, because the ministry started denying a lot of applications for family reunification. If, I don't know how long have you been here, but if you've been here for 3 years, for example, and you've seen your wife once, it's possible that the ministry will deny your application, because they will say, okay, that's not a marriage if you've seen each other once in 3 years. So that might potentially be what's happening there, but there might be plenty of other factors as well. So, but definitely like 7 months or 8 months is not normal for family reunification visa. For a family reunification residence permit, yes, that can take up to 9 months, 270 days, but for a visa, not really. Maharaj Sharkar. Sorry for mispronouncing all your names, guys. Hello, I'm working in Greek Cyprus as a supermarket attendant. Can I get any opportunity in the Czech Republic? Technically, yes. Very hard to do in real life, though. And be very careful, because there are plenty of scammers who will promise you like for 3,000 euros or whatever a work permit in the Czech Republic, but that might not be completely legit. Tanvi, one more question, please. I'm thinking about business visa. I have food license in India on basic kind of food. Definitely don't apply for a business visa, man. No. From India, the chances are very, very low that you will ever get a business visa. So, no, student is definitely better. Or easier, I mean, or higher chances. Higher chances. Valid WB. Hello. Hello, Valid. Do you have any question, or you just came to admire this handsome man? Okay, guys, it's been almost 30 minutes. If you have any more questions, ask now. Otherwise, I will go home and to sleep. Let me show you the castle one more time, because it's getting darker, so it might be nicer now. You see, this is the castle, but it's still not lit. So we have to talk more. Maharaj Shakrar, okay, bro. Yeah, sorry, like with Indians, Bangladeshi, Nepali, Sri Lankans, there are so many scammers which will like promise you a work permit, employment contract, whatever. You can get a short-term visa, a seasonal work visa, and then you can convert to something else. That's all bullshit. Or like 99.9% of that is bullshit and scams. So just don't fall for that, guys. Tanvir, can I apply for a job visa from Dubai? Potentially yes, but be careful with that. For the same reasons as I mentioned here. Valid, I have a question for you. Chef jobs is available in your country? Generally, yes. But again, Valid, are you from Pakistan, Valid, or where are you from? Because in most Asian countries, there are quotas, which means that unless your employer is registered in one of the governmental programs, you will never get an appointment for any employment-related residence permits. So I would say 90% of people get scammed, so be careful with that. Tanvi, thank you. Need to drop. Have a nice rest of the day, week, year, life. Thanks, Tanvi. Nice seeing you here. Have a nice day, year, life as well. Indrajit Gohel, hello Jan. It's always gets wonderful feeling while listening to you. I'm happy to hear that. Sorry, that was my automatic, like my iPhone should shut down now at 9 o'clock. It should automatically shut down, but the iPhone doesn't do it. They first ask me if I really want to shut it down, which kind of is not why I wanted to do that. So I had to like just not confirm that. Anyway, I'm happy that's wonderful for you to listen to me. I'm happy that it's hopefully helpful as well. And if you have any question, Indrajit, feel free to ask. Tanvir, where are you from? I'm from the Czech Republic, Prague. Yes, Prague, Czech Republic. But yeah, guys, it's been 30 minutes with you. You don't seem to have any other questions. So I will finish the live stream and I will go home and sleep and rest and hopefully not die. So the last question, Eurocast by Czech Indian. My study visa is expiring on 30th September. I'm getting work permit on 1st August. Okay, that's intriguing. There is a story behind that. So come on. Eurocast by Czech Indian. Come on. Can I apply for work permit? One thing is what you mean by work permit. Because work permit is not an official immigration term. So you can get an employment contract, which potentially could be used for an employee card application, but that depends on what kind of employment contract that will be. Also depends if you plan on studying or not. And then there is the whole whole process where you would need to apply for an employee card. So generally, it's always easiest to stay under the same purpose of stay. So if you plan on studying, then extend the student residence permit, and you can work also like full time during your studies if you manage to do that at the same time as working or as studying. But potentially, yes, you can, if you get an employment contract and you get a vacancy number and your employer is willing to help you with that, you can apply for an employee card. Just be careful, guys, whenever you change something in your immigration status. So you want to change the purpose of your stay, you go from studies to employment or job seeker or business, whatever, ideally consult with someone before you do something stupid. Sorry for being straight like this, but I've seen it so many times that people like say, okay, I will do this, I will get a trade license, and then I will switch to a business residence permit, and then they get like denied, deported, or they find themselves in very serious trouble because they could not do it, for example, because you can only switch to business after 5 years of living here. If you do it after 3 years, you get denied because you don't meet the conditions. So I would definitely recommend consulting with someone. Of course, you can do it with us. We'll be happy to help. If you consult with someone else, that doesn't really matter, as long as you consult with someone who knows what they do and what they say, and you got the information so you can make a proper decision if to go that route or not. Emmanuel Amangua, please, how about seasonal work permit? Seasonal work permit or seasonal work visa is the biggest bullshit I've ever heard of. So if I can recommend something, stay away of it. Don't even try to like get it or apply for it or whatever. Valid, if I get to Europe, what should I do? I don't know. Enjoy, like drink and like try all the different foods. I don't know what you mean by that. If you get to Europe, what should you do? Liamide Olaya, hello, how are you doing? I'm good, thank you. Trasha Ariel, hi guys. It seems like new people are still joining, but there are not too many questions anymore. And I've been here for 33 minutes right now. So I'm finishing the live stream, guys. Thank you very much all for joining, for asking the questions. And I will see you again Thursday. Today is Thursday. So Monday, Thursday, until the end of the world. Have a good night, guys, and see you next time. Bye-bye.